All right. 73, first paragraph. More than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. He's very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but know in his heart he doesn't deserve it. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. These memories are a nightmare. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside himself. He hopes they will never see the light of day. He is under constant fear and tension. That makes for more drinking. All right, Paul, I'll open it up to you. Thank you.
Well, thanks. Thanks, Mike. Nice to see everybody. Again, the basic platform of this meeting, everything we view and talk about is hopefully seen in the light of the exact nature of the wrong, which is presented on page 64, around the third paragraph. Starts with the sentence starts with being convinced, which is, as we all know, if you've been in AA for a while, that's an incredible, important condition, being convinced, or being willing to be convinced, or in the process of being convinced. So there's phases of it, but being convinced is a key. And being convinced of what? Self, manifested in various ways, is what has defeated us. So being convinced means to believe with certainty, one definition. Now, it doesn't matter if someone else believes with certainty. It's important that you believe with certainty. So believing with certainty, self manifested in various ways. Manifested means it appears or comes about. Yes, you can look it up, and if you want, in a dictionary. Manifested in various ways. So there's going to be more manifestations of the one idea called self. Yes? So self just doesn't manifest in way, it manifests in many ways, like driven by 100 forms of, as they say in the book. But the driving is coming from one idea, which is self. Yeah? And then we're driven by that one idea various ways. And the way we're going to get the one idea that's driving it all is to look at some of the various ways that self has defeated us, or manifestations. If you agree with this, it says, all right, we are now going to look at its, meaning self's, common manifestations. Yep. Next paragraph, resentment. So resentment is a manifestation of self in one's life. I do not think this is an insane leap. I believe you can interpret the sentences we just read and get to that conclusion, that resentment is a manifestation of self, and it's very clearly put that self is what has defeated us. So us is not of self, yes? So there's a distinction that I feel is a very important distinction. Very, very important. So important that we stay on this point for years on these Zooms. So being convinced, self, manifested in various ways, is what has defeated us. So we're in the us camp, and we've been defeated by this idea of self. We are now going to look at its common manifestations, resentment, and then the inventory looks at fear, and then harms done to others in the pursuit of what you want. So a selfish behavior, or inconsiderate behavior, or dishonest behavior. All manifestations of the one idea of self. Yeah. We do the inventory. And so if you just look at your own life, when you talk about a manifestation of self, you usually call it yours. Yeah. It's my fear, my resentment, my harm. And if you look at that habit of calling manifestations of resentment, fear, and harms done to others as yours, that would be the true problem, which is the act of being identified as self. I mean, I don't see how, I don't know. Yeah. So if Stanley was coming through me and manifesting through me, and my name was Paul, and every time I noticed the manifestations of Stanley coming through into my life, and I called them mine, I would be in the act of being identified as Stanley. Yes? Now, maybe that wouldn't cause any trouble, but it sure causes trouble where we are. So because we're identified with what has defeated us. There's a very clear point. Being convinced, self-manifested in various ways, is what has defeated us. So a lot of the day, we're in the act of being identified as what has defeated us. That's not a very advantageous position, is it? To live a day? It just makes absolutely no sense. So we're now going to look at its common manifestation. So this is a page on 73, into action. So it's talking about more than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life because we're extremely obsessed with self. Yes? So a lot of people, they all have a built-in obsession with self, but we're an extreme version of it. And this is what causes us to be like the canary in the coal mine, and actually quite valuable if other people could take away the separating idea that they're an addict and alcoholic and see actually what has defeated them. It may be the exact same idea in them that's defeating them in a smaller, less flamboyant way. Yeah. But of course, it's put in for alcoholics and addicts. Yeah. So oh no, that's not for me. It's addicts, alcoholics. This is what the head does all the time. Yeah. If it can't deny a solution, it will fucking compartmentalize it or put it somewhere else that it's not applicable to you. Yeah? So more than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. So basically, it's implying that most people lead a double life. It just says more than most people. Yeah, but it says most people lead a double life. To the outer world, he or she presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. Yeah, so you could call it your mask or whatever you want to call it. But the funny thing is, it's a twofold mask. There's the mask that you're wearing, and there's the mask that's wearing the mask. Yeah. Many people only are recognizing the first mask, the mask that they're wearing. But the mask that's now saying you have to take off the first mask is also a mask. Yeah. Self is a two-sided coin. It's not like, oh, tails sucks and heads is going to be great. No, the currency is bogus. Yeah. Tail, heads, the currency is bogus. It's a failed system. It's expressed in the big book when they talk about fear. Why are we in so much fear today? Isn't it because self-reliance has failed us? Yeah. Self-reliance is a failed system. What? Yes. So the mask of self-reliance and then the idea of the other mask that says it's had the other mask, both of them are the same coin. One's head, one's tail, one's policeman, one's thief, but it's the same currency and it's bogus. Yeah. I remember one time I was in Nepal and I paid for something with $100 American, and then that something got canceled. And when I went to get the money back, they gave me $100 worth of Nepali money, which had no value anywhere else other than Nepal. Yeah. It had absolutely no value. So I had to fight to get the $100 because the $100 American money, I can get value other places, but only in Nepal is there value in this freaking money. And they did not want to give me back the $100 because they were very clear how valueless their money is outside of Nepal. This is the head. Yeah. Do you think being right and alone is valuable? Do you think the aloneness that may come from an extreme desire to always be right is really worth it? Yeah. You give up the long part of the stick to get the short end of the stick. I'm right. Great. You're right. You're angry. You're frustrated. No, you have no friends, but you're right. That's insane. So most people, the alcoholic leads a double life, more than most people. He is very much the actor. So there's the mask, but there's another mask underneath that mask. Yes. A lot of us are wearing the second mask in recovery, and we're not enjoying the benefits of recovery. We're constantly anxious and worried about shit that's not happening. Yes? Because the secondary mask has now become the old primary mask. Yeah. Self is what has defeated us, sober and none not sober. Yeah. It didn't say, oh, self is what has defeated us, only concerning the drinking and the using. No, itself has defeated us. Yeah. By its manifestations. Yeah. And then we try to get relief from that by drinking and using. Didn't you feel when you first started drinking, it was a solution? I did. Yeah. I was having a lot of sort of, irritable, restless discontent, and drinking and especially using drugs seemed like a solution, only to blow up into a massive, larger, flamboyant manifestation of the problem. Yeah. So, he is much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but knows in his heart he doesn't deserve it. Know what knows in its heart that it isn't you? That which is not you. The parasite, even though it talks to you as if it's the host, it knows it's not the host. It needs to keep the host blind to the fact that it's been taken over by a parasite. And it's found the greatest strategy, which is to have the host in the act of being identified as the parasite. Yeah. Amazing, eh? So it may lose some ground in your life, but it never lose the higher ground. You're always taking it to be you, sober or not sober. Yeah. And self can defeat you with a whisper, a constant fucking whisper about what's not happening, or with a bang. Yeah. Yeah. So the inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. These memories are a nightmare. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside himself. When you came in, I bet you heard this. People would tell you, hey, brother, you've got to be willing to save your ass instead of your face. Yeah. This is talking about saving face. But when I came in, I thought my face was my ass. I would lose my ass to save my face any second of the day. Yes. He hopes they will never see the light of day. He is under constant fear and tension. That makes for more drinking. Exactly. Yeah. Do you think there's a point we cross the line where we're drinking, yeah, without any power? But why did drinking look so fucking attractive to begin with? We were irritable, restless, and discontent. Yeah. We were under a demand to get relief. And that demand turned into an urge. And then that urge took over. Yeah. And then I crossed the line. And now I was that urge. Yeah. What made all this stuff to escape for a minute attractive was the bondage of that minute under your head. Yeah. So there is a solution and there is a problem. And the problem has an exact nature. And that nature is the problem is foreign to us. This is my humble opinion, and I stand by it. Yeah. That which has defeated us, as just stated in the big book, is not us. It's called self. Yeah. Now, I don't know what you want to call it, but instead of acquiring self-knowledge, acquire a little knowledge about self. Yeah. And to me, the inherent knowledge is it's foreign to you. In other words, you have a flu, you're not the flu. You have a disease, you're not the disease. Yes? Or let's say the flu had you, which is more appropriate, and the disease had you. Yeah. Yeah. So how does it have you when it's not you? How does it have you when it's not you? To me, that's the bondage of self. We're bondage as self, as being self. Yeah. That's what continues the bondage. Maybe if you saw what has defeated you, maybe that's just the tip of the spear, but the rest of the spear is made out of the same fucking ingredient. See what has defeated you is not you. Yeah. And open up to the door of a real solution where the problem will not exist for you anymore. Yeah. And it looks truly based on the problem does not exist as you anymore. The problem does not exist as you is what allows the problem not to exist for you. Yeah. It's awesome. So, I mean, there's enough stuff to sort of shake up the apple cart every day. Yeah. You could wake up and get terrible fucking news. Tons of things could be going well, and then you run into a wall with the car. Whatever. There's things that may happen all the time. Do you need any more shit to deal with? Wouldn't you like to have your condition be relaxed and satisfied and content so it can deal much better with the other conditions that are volatile and can change? Instead of you being a fucking piece of work. Yeah. Yeah, this world is uncertain, but there's a certainty where we sit, yeah, that we can rest on. We call it the higher power. We call it grace. We call it whatever it is. But most of us have had a strong convincing that something has done for us what we cannot do for ourselves. Yeah, that's truly the logo of recovery. Something is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. And all we do, the program brings us into a condition where we let it. Yeah. It doesn't ask us to let it because we don't have the power to do it. The program brings us into a condition where we let the higher power work in our lives. Yes? Yeah. And some of us are past that. We are now riding that wave. Yeah. We're in the habit of being sober. We're in the habit of realizing something is done for me what I can't do for myself. We're in the habit of being very clear that I am not managerial quality. We're in the habit of realizing any life run by self-will is going to be fucked. Yeah. With a zip code of Beverly Hills or fucking Newark, New Jersey. So here's the invitation. Read the book. If you've done an inventory on your manifestations, then it won't bother you to do a short one on its manifestations. Yeah. And you may see that a lot of its manifestations you have been calling your manifestations, and let's just clear that fucking shit up. Yeah. Why are we so afraid to look at our role in things when we look at everyone else's role in things all day? Why is it so hard? Because something's blocking it. There's something in you that does not want you to see your role in things because it knows you're going to see its role in things. It's as clear as day. We all love taking inventory. And yet it's like pulling teeth for us to take an inventory of us. What's up? Yeah. I think the, I have a ironclad inventory of my left side neighbor and the right side neighbor. I think I know what they're all about. I do. Yeah. But here, no clarity whatsoever. Doesn't that trigger some kind of curiosity? Like, what could be blocking when it's my life is at stake and I'm reneging on just an inventory that I do all day on other people? There must be something that creates a curiosity in us to think there must be something going on in me that's has an agenda that's contrary to the one I've been fed and I believe I have, and's running like a fucking clandestine life underneath my fucking nose. Yeah, it's amazing. How long I had to make a vow to take 2 hours on it every Sunday to do the inventory because I wasn't doing it. Even though I knew the importance when I came in, I just fucking would just avoid it at all costs. Finally, I really did. I'm going to take from 1 to 3 Sundays and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to write shit. Yeah. Yet, if I look at my neighbor, I do an inventory immediately. Just seems weird. It does. I mean, we have the ability, we can do a snap inventory, like whack, like that. You see a person and you judge them by their clothes, you've done an inventory. Like that, it's over. Us, dragging, pulling teeth to get to the 4th column. Everyone in a bar does the first 2 columns of the inventory. They know who they're mad at and why, and they just keep drinking. Yeah. Because they don't want to go to the 3rd or 4th column. Yeah. But we have gone so freaking far, we need to go to the 3rd and 4th column. We need to see why we get the way we get and to see what it means and our role in it. Yeah, what? Yeah. If you see your role, you'll see its role. I guarantee it. Yeah. 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 I guarantee it. If you listen enough at AA meetings, you're going to realize either people got your thoughts or they're not your thoughts because everything they share sounds just like the shit going on in my head, or used to be anyway. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Just one member to another. Yeah. At least you had a nice, sit down hour. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anything adverse happens if you come here. I don't think it's, you know, demon rain fucking doesn't sear your skin. It's just, here's an invitation, see it. Go to page 64, read that sentence, even though you may have heard it tons of times, and see how can you identify self as us when they're separated in that sentence. Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, Mike. Happy to be here as always.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Anybody have any questions or would like to share on this? Please use the raise hand feature. Paul, a while ago, well, it's probably a long time ago now, but you said something to the effect about, we're all frauds, and
Yeah.
this paragraph like really sang to me about that idea. And then you said something that was pretty interesting to the effect that like once I denied that for so long, but then once I admitted that, then I found out that I'm not a fraud. I mean, I'm like something to that effect. Could you speak on that a little bit for me, please?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this was one of the big like plate tectonic moves I noticed in recovery. When I came into recovery, I noticed I had been denying quite a lot of stuff because that stuff seemed so real and I didn't want it to land, that I was a fraud, selfish, all that stuff. Yeah. I didn't like that. That wasn't bringing a rosy complexion to my imagined image. Yeah. So I was denying and avoiding this shit like it was the plague. And I thought I was successful at it. And I got into AA, and then all this shit started catching up to me. And instead of getting on my running shoes and trying to run away from it, I let it catch up. And I felt, yeah, I'm a fraud, and it didn't kill me. And I'm this and I'm that. And so how it was really killing me was my fear of being something. Yeah. And when I allowed it to be as true as it wanted to be, it showed itself not to be true. Yeah. We're all fraudulent here. Yeah. But there is no fraud. There is no person that's a fraud. But we're all fraudulent. Yes. So this is how I see it. So I conveniently avoiding shit costs so much. The payoff cost ratio, I thought I was winning, but I was really losing. When I got into AA, life broke with that. Things finally caught up to me. The fear of death came up when I sat there and felt that, and it didn't kill me. And I saw the unreality of what I had given so much reality to. Yeah. And I became free from the bondage of self more and more. Yeah, that was just one main aspect, but these are like the main operations that you remember, and then there's all these other elected operations, but this was a major operation where I allowed shit that I was trying to outrun by drinking and using to catch up to me with the fear that it would kill me. That's what kept me running. Yeah, and it didn't kill me. So I learned I could face life successfully as a fraud. Yeah, as selfish and self-centered. Yeah. When the problem is giving you all your solutions, it's a fucking huge problem. That's all I can say. A lot of my solutions, when brought into the light of day, were completely counterfeit and bogus. Yeah, they were. And I had to give up my old currency and start dealing with the new currency. Yeah. And thank God the momentum of grace was sufficient. I didn't really start thinking about all the differences in everybody and me for the first year or two. And by then I was established in sobriety. Yeah. Yeah. I was just so happy to be under a sanctuary. I wasn't looking around the room thinking, this and that. I really wasn't. Yeah. I could care less about God or no God. I just knew I was getting what I needed, and I was fucking super happy about that. Yeah. And after a few years, and then the head sort of woke up again, it was too late. The habit of being sober was in place. Yeah. Yeah. So, some of us, you felt it probably, Michael, and everyone here, you get moved by a tsunami of grace. Yeah. And by the time that wave of grace slows down, you're in a new village. Yeah. You've been moved from where you were, and you're in a whole new way of life. Yeah. Yeah. So, so I hope that helps. Yes.
Yeah, it does. It does help. And we have a couple of we have some
Remember the
friends
two
here.
masks, though, Michael. Remember the two masks. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mask that we finally realized we were wearing is now being spoken from another mask. Yeah. It's to see both of them as not huge. Remember where it talks about the person driven by self will be virtuous and kind. Yes.
Yeah.
The second mask that we seem to think is our face is as bogus as the first mask that we thought was our face for years. It's just as bogus as the first mask. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one thing about Bill and his writing. He keeps hammering home the same ideas, huh?
Eh?
That's the thing about Bill's writing. He keeps hammering home these same ideas, just in different languages. If you pick up on him, you can see that he says the same thing 2 or 3 times in various
Yes.
parts of
Yes,
the book.
because you have to get down to the exact nature of the wrong. If you're going through all the different colored manifestations, you're going to get lost in the forest by the trees. Yes. So
Yeah.
we got to get down to the underlying causes and conditions. That's where the value lies. Not being able to describe every fucking leaf in the trees of hell, so to speak. Yes.
Right. Right.
Yes. I have people call me. Oh man. And I humbly, not to speak about them personally, I humbly believe when they present the problem and they have so much knowledge about the problem, and then they present the solution, they don't see their solution as part of the problem. Yeah. Their whole problem isn't problem solution, it's a problem solution. It's like a huge thing because they keep doing the same fucking thing. So their solution is part of the problem now. They can describe to a T, but they still find themselves in the hole. What's the point of being a professor of holes and you keep falling in the holes? The solution is coming from a different source than the problem. It states it in our book. Yeah. And it implies it. And Einstein, these people said it, the system that's producing the problem is not where you're going to find a solution to it. Yeah. So in this revelatory idea they found was, instead of relying on reason and these mental activities that hadn't solution. So some other aspect of us that's unsuspected, without knowing it, they tapped into. They gave it a name, spiritual condition, but it was just that it wasn't the mental condition, because that's where the problem resides. Yes, it says it in the book. The problem resides in the mind. The mind is the mental processes. Yeah. So the problem resides there, and that's why in we agnostics, they talk about the glory of reason, but it's not good enough. Yeah, you're not going to think yourself out of this situation. You're not. You're not going to understand yourself out of it. You're not. Whys aren't even helpful in a way. Yeah. Because we're going to rely on something else. This is what was revelatory. They fell into it. They sense it, and they were moved to present it to all of us so that we can seek the solution, not from the problem. Yes? When you hear someone speak, if you meet them and they give you their riff for the first 12 minutes, they have court cases, this and that. They're totally fucked, yeah? And then your answer is go to a meeting. In their head, that doesn't look like an answer. But we know it's not from our head, because it didn't look like an answer to us either. But we went to the meeting and there was the answer. Yes? Because the solution is derived not from the mental. It's another source of the solution in AA. Now, people get flipped out about the embroidery of it's Christian or this or that or a God, but it's really just, it's not mental. Yes. Yeah. So they say a not mental condition is a spiritual condition. And that's our salvation. Yes. But truly, I believe the whole pivot is on losing interest in self, and self is a mental product. Yes. If you want to call it ego, I don't believe the ego is what we talk about as self, but self is a mental product. Yes. It was made up there. It's reinforced through that. It's imagined that way. It's remembered that way. All the mental processes are centered around this idea of self. Yeah. We found a solution. It's not coming from that self-centered system. Yeah. So we don't think ourselves into good action. We act ourselves into good thinking. Yeah. We use the body, not as a mental fucking transportation, but as another transportation. Let's call it grace or spirit. Yes. Because don't you believe when something does for you what you can't do for yourself, you've been moved by a wind of grace or spirit? Yes. Now, was that wind available? Yes. Were we picking up on it? No. Yeah. We were being blown by mental, emotional winds. Yeah. Driven by this idea of self. And it almost killed us, literally. Yeah. We're still a sail. We're going to be blown by some wind. Now, perhaps the better way is trusting the infinite rather than finite self. Yep. You can't trust finite self more than being identified as it. That would be the highest fucking level of trusting finite self I can imagine, being identified as it. Yeah. Yeah. Let the program break these fucking ideologies down. Yeah, they will. Yeah. Do what we do, go where we go. Take these simple suggestions, allow them to become habits. Habits are actions without thoughts. So you're not relying on the mental condition. You're in a habit of doing shit. Yeah. That actually serves you. Yeah. Get established in the sobriety and then get ready for an interesting ride. Yeah. You're going to really have a life finally. Instead of being had in a life from self, you're going to have a life. Yeah. Wow. You know, after being driven by the head, I didn't have much time left, you know? It wasn't gonna work out well. Yeah, it wasn't. This life was extended by the losing interest in the head. It has been, yeah. I'm in a ripe old age now. Amazing. It is. It's truly amazing. Uh, yeah, so, yeah, Mike.
Well, thank you, Paul. Thank you so much. We have Terry S. from Camarillo, California, with
All right,
his hand up.
Terry, come on in there.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
good.
much. Thank you very much,
Little time
Paul.
or two, yes.
I
Yeah.
certainly enjoyed your talk today. When you were talking about the inventory, I know that so much has evolved. I don't know if it worked out this way for you, but the first inventory I did, I was scared to death. That fear, it was so fearful. I was 27 years old at the time. And my sponsor says, well, do it this way. And I started writing, and I would write for a paragraph or so, and then I'd put it away. And then I'd bring it out a couple of days later. And as a result, it took me like six weeks to do these columns and stuff.
Yes.
And the weird part about it is that since I've been in the program for a long time, and this time around when I did an inventory a couple of years ago, I did it with enthusiasm because I knew that there was something more that I missed the first time around. I didn't see the manifestation of self in all these areas, and I didn't see it as a parasite. I just saw it as part of me because the book, one way or another talks about self being inside of me, and it's not. At least I'm beginning to see that now, and I appreciate your thoughts. I just finished your first book or your second book, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. Yeah. The thing is, when that fear was there to do the inventory, I thought it was my fear. And then through the inventories, I realized it was the fear of the parasite. Yeah. And that I was going to actually love the light that was going to be shined on it. But because being completely taken over by that, I was living pretty much as the parasite. So its fear of doing the inventory became my fear of doing the inventory. And I've had enough of that ghost life. Yeah, I really do. I've had enough of that one. Yes. So there's fear and anxiety, but it's usually I'm not the source of it. Yeah. The head's cooking something up because it's afraid of being found out. It is. It's afraid. It's afraid of a lot of shit. That's the anxiety we've been living under. We've been experiencing its anxiety of getting caught. Really, it is, because it's sucked on us. It doesn't know what else to do. Yeah. I paint it as a very parasitical thing because a lot of people believe it's a part of them, and that's okay, but in its view, it's all of you. So I like to use an extreme foreignness to get a sense of space from it. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it's going to become your service animal. Oh, your friend. I just don't. There's aspects of the head. It's not the head, it's in the head. Yeah. There's aspects of the head that are great. Like if I'm working on something, to know the difference between a bolt and a nut is good, yes, and whatever. So the head has a lot of capabilities. It's when it goes into this psychological arena, it's just first of all, it has no certificate of being a weatherman, a psychologist, a shaman. It's fucking bogus. It doesn't know what the hell is going on. And it's living every moment in fear of its own life because it doesn't want you to recognize that it's not you. Because the death of it is actually loss of interest in it. That's it. That's truly what the death of the parasite is. It's when the host loses interest in it. That flips it out unbelievably. So, yeah. Operate in recovery. It's beautiful. You don't have to have a dark night of a soul. You know, it can happen gradually. It can happen while you're under sedation. Yeah. Just stay on the operating table. Just like those people that were constantly watching when the urge was going to break and that urge would be removed. When it was finally removed, they had lost interest in watching when that moment the urge was removed. Don't you hear it in the book? They said, I was so concerned and then I lost interest in it. And I noticed, somewhere during the week or the month, hey, the urge is gone. But they never even saw it go. Yes? Because them watching it was part of the fucking urge. When they lost interest in it, they didn't even know when it fucking ended and left. Hallelujah, because they weren't there. That was the beauty of it. You're playing a fucking huge role in keeping us ill. Yes. Haven't you noticed that? Some people who are the most important aspect in their life is physical health, and it's making them ill. The attention and interest, it's sort of like that magnifying glass that we don't know we are, is just fucking, you have a good idea and then it's just burnt by that magnifying glass. The obsession with self. Yes. Yeah, good idea to get healthy. Not 15 hours in the fucking gym taking steroids and, you know what I mean? That's not, it just goes off. Yeah. Whatever. Some people, I go to a place called Whole Foods. I don't go so much. And when the plastic surgery started getting to be more commonplace, sometimes I'd be walking down an aisle and then someone would turn in it and it would be unbelievable. They hadn't had an emotional expression for like a year. They were just total. It's like, what? What the fuck happened? Or their face looked like they had sandpapered it. It was just wild. Yeah. It's just like, what the hell? Yeah. Back off, Take some advice. Call up someone before you do some of this shit. So the head is like a magnifying glass. Yes. So if you're interested in something, it can very easily get way interested in that something. And now that something isn't being beneficial. Yes. Yeah. It's been put to another purpose right underneath our nose. Yeah. Yeah. I find a lot of things got a lot better when I lost interest in them getting better. Haven't you noticed that? A lot of shit works a lot better when I lose interest if it works better or not. That should tell you something, huh? Uh, see that you're not that which wants to direct your life, and you'll see a new direction in your life. You will. You'll come to observe the thinking isn't like it used to be. Yeah. Yeah. Usually you would at least remember some of it. Now you don't remember any of it. As the day goes on, I can't remember one thought I seem to have had since I woke up. There's absolutely, they're never thrown into the value bin usually. It's just like it just goes this way. I have a great idea. Into the garbage bin. Recycle that energy. Yeah. So, yeah, Mike. Thank you, my friend in Camarillo. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. We have our Pink Cloud resident, Gail, would like to have, she has her hand up.
All
Hi,
right.
Gail.
Hi, Paul. Hi, everyone. As always, whenever I come to these sessions, it just blows my mind. What I'm hearing, going through the steps and doing the inventory and being recovered for 2 years now, I'm hearing today that I've kind of gotten attached to. Okay, I was very happy to let go of the self and all the stuff the self that came up in the inventory. And I'm beginning to see that I've got an attachment to, I didn't recognize it, but the angelic self, the self that doesn't have all that, the good Gail,
Yeah.
gotten taken care of the bad Gail. So now here's the good Gail. And I feel like I'm kind of like grasping after that, going after that. And that's actually another, like the opposite side of self. When I first started coming to your meetings, you said something about cop and the thief are the same.
Yes.
And so I'm just opening it up because I'm just starting to, the needle is starting to move towards saying, wait a minute, I've gotten rid of this self and now I'm creating another self of perfection or good, doing all these spiritual things. It says, what does it say? Spiritual progress, not spiritual perfection, but what is the progress? Is that creating a holier self? What maybe there is no end game. So I would just like to hear a few of your thoughts on that, because I feel like I'm right. What I'm hearing is like, wait a minute, I'm leaving an old self to create a new, better version of self. And I don't want to go there because I want what you have.
Well, honey, intuitively, I feel like we shouldn't say anything right now. That's a good place you're at. And yeah,
Okay.
whichever way you fall is going to have value.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, you're coming to see something.
Yeah.
That you weren't seeing before. And so therefore, its effects and its activities will be seen as something other than your effects and your activities. That's great. It's sort of like, to me, a lot of this is a reclaiming of the space that we are, really. So a lot of the space that we've lost seemingly is without knowing it. And now we coming into knowledge of how that seemed to have been lost. And the beauty of it is it's never been lost. Yeah. Someone just claimed to be the taker of it, and now it's being taken back. Yeah, yeah. So the moment in your life will get bigger. Now, if your life is going to be bigger or not, is secondary, but the moment of this moment will be big. Yeah. There'll be a sense of that power coming in, the new power, a sense of the conscious presence of that power, all those effects that they talk about in the third step. This is what's going on. So you become what's large in this world. Yeah. Not looking for the large experience. You'll be the largeness. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So this is an important thing. We were talking or implying the two masks of self. Yeah. So a lot of us have, and in a formatted way through recovery and AA, we've recognized the first mask we have been living behind, which was alcoholism and addiction. And then that has been exposed. And now a new mask has shown up. Yeah, that says it's claiming to be the one that's left after that other was exposed. And I believe it's of the same cloth. So there's two masks, and now you're seeing the second mask. Hallelujah. Yeah. Yeah, just you've already paid for the ride. Just buckle up and see what happens. I feel you know, our experience is a subjective experience, yes? Interpretive. So when there's a hot stove and anyone touches it, probably have the same effect on the physical, but the head will interpret it, yes? And there's a subjective experience. And what happens is, through this process of recovery, your proportionality changes. What was emphasized changes. So you're seeing the same scenery, but it's changed, yes? You didn't have to change the scenery unless you did, if it was a bad scenery, toxic, whatever. But the scenery of the moment changes, and what's emphasized changes. And just as you reacted from what it was like before, you react as what it's like now. And it's quite different. Yeah. Yeah. So now you're just being moved by a different wind in a different direction. But you're still seemingly the sail. Yeah. Now the sail seemingly is pointed this way, and it can look ahead, but it can't see what's behind. You can only sense the wind that's blowing into the sail. You can't see it. This is, to me, spirit or grace. Yeah. So, yeah. So now you're sensing something that you were completely not taking into account at all. Yeah.
Mhm.
We were, by our conscious contact with self, we were basically not present, seemingly. Yeah. Or we were unconscious to the present by being super conscious to self. Yeah. Now we're going to be conscious of the infinite, which has a whole different plan, because it comes from a different nature. Yeah. So when you're relying on the brain, there's a interesting book called The Course in Miracles. And one of its answers about the failed system is basically the brain that we're listening to and following, it interprets to the body. Yeah. So the brain, being part of the body, interprets everything to the body. Yeah. So we don't want to live based only on that information being interpreted through the brain concerning only to the body as being a thing. We would like another station that's about non-thing, yeah, let's say, or spirit, and then see which one moves us stronger than the other, yeah. And for some of us, we do a lot better listening to the other radio station than the one we were listening to before. Yeah. Now you've just been introduced to a couple of new radio stations. Hallelujah. Yeah. Yeah. Can write in, cancel your subscription to the old station, and it immediately triggers your new subscription. You don't have to do a new one. Just cancel your old subscription and you find yourself in a new subscription. You may like it better. I subscribe to it for 36 years. It works. Uh, right. Thank you, Gail. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
We'll riff on this stuff, but not, you don't need it right now. You're in the question mark moment. That's
Okay.
great. Yeah. Something great will answer you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Next up, we have Linton. You have time for one more, Paul?
I do, I guess, yes. Linton.
Hey, Linton.
Thanks. Thanks, Paul. I'll keep it very short. Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm really grateful for you running these sessions. They've had such an impact on a shift in my recovery. And I was doing a step 4 the last few weeks, and I did a 5, 6, 7 over the weekend. And the change in that was so massive. I was just listening to the conversations you've been having this evening. And when I've done step 4 in the past, it's been very much about my resentments, my fears, out of which I've had a list of my defects that I need to fix. And it's so been wrapped up in it. And this time, when I was doing it, as I was going through my resentments, I was just living in it's just resentments with like a ticker tape through my head, just clocking them up everywhere. Like so, but they're just meaningless because it's just one after the other. And then I was into fears, and I'm just seeing fears everywhere. And it was so apparent that these were nothing to do with me. It's just what I was shining the light on at the time. And when I did my 5 and then into 6 and 7 over the weekend, it seemed really clear that this was nothing to do with it being like myself, Linton, just the nature of a self is it's just racking up resentments and racking up fears, and it's going to keep on doing it infinitely. And that the only game is to step out of the loop completely. And that was such a freeing insight. And it reminded me just when you said something earlier about you can either take your inventory or you can take its inventory. It feels like that was the sort of shift that had happened there. Is that the sort of thing you were talking about, Paul?
Yes. 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 That's what I was talking about. That's what I
The
have
details
talked
on
about for many, many, many years, because it
yeah.
happened to me. Yes. I did the same thing. I saw self as foreign to me, and I realized what I had been calling mine wasn't mine, and I rendered unto Caesar's what was Caesar's. Yeah. And so
And that sense you're talking about of there being, the second mask trying to fix the first mask, it feels like that's what I've been trying to do in recovery, is creating another mask to try and fix the original mask. And it's a layer on a layer rather than just seeing through the whole process.
but it wasn't you or as like Gail, it's not Gail that creates this sense of self. It's the mental process.
Yeah.
It's not you. The mental process produces, when the sense of self has enough holes that it's easy to see through, it makes up another one.
Yeah.
See, it wants a curtain no matter what. So if you start seeing through the curtain, it will start claiming to be the one who's seeing through the curtain and set itself up as the new curtain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. It will go on ad infinitum. So when you see that you weren't the first mask and you're not the second mask, then when it tries to, it usually gets stumped there. But if it keeps trying to apply you're the fifth mask, you will have seen through that there is no mask. Yes. Or a mask is a mask. It's never the face. So you get a point where you're convinced of that. So no matter how many presentations of a new mask, you realize it's never been the face. Yeah. So it's quite good. And it allows life just to go on unimpeded in a new way. It's great. It just really does. And then you don't tell life it's yours. You see what life has for you. Yeah, that's the way you go, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's great. I'm happy. These are the ways the dominoes fell for me too. I saw it and more was revealed, what, and then of course you want to do something about it, and then it's nice sometimes not to do anything about it and just stay on the operating table. Don't get up, don't play doctor. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to see something. If you want to look at it in a surrendered way, something once is going to use you. Yeah. Yeah. So something is already using you. It's the old one was the head, and now you're going to be used by something other than the head. Yeah. It's not this is not like a combined like duet. It's like either one or the other is going to direct you. Yeah. Like Jesus said, supposedly, you cannot serve two masters at the same time. I think he was implying something to what we're sharing here now. Yes. That either it's the head or it's the infinite, but it's not going to be the infinite in some kind of alliance or like corporate connection to the head. I don't feel it. That's the way it goes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, yep. Thank you, bro. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
That's great. That to me is the effect of doing the inventory when you see the manifestations aren't yours. Yes, that's an effect that I've witnessed and I've had. Yeah. Yeah. This for me, a lot of things were left sort of dangling, and this was really a pretty good answer that really completed a lot of circles that were not completed just by what I was doing. Yeah. Knowing the exact nature of the wrong really brought a lot of, finished the circle on a lot of things. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure. The stuff you're sharing here, everybody has been such a great shift in my way of reading through this.
Well, fantastic. Fantastic. It's one or many, it doesn't matter. It's the expression. So great. We're very successful then today. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Seriously. Doesn't one or the masses, it doesn't matter because one is like the many and many is like the one, really. Mind
Yeah.
isn't, your mind or my mind. It's mind. One little aspect of mind will trigger like an electric current through the rest of mind. Yeah. I'm a real believer in that. So when an idea gets out and it gets entertained by enough people, it gets established. Yeah. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. So here we are sowing ideas in fertile ground, hopefully. Yeah. That's cool. Thank you. Very happy that you're a little bit traveling lighter in the Isle of Jura, and Gail is traveling lighter in the Pink Cloud, and Mike's traveling lighter in Madeira, and I'm traveling lighter in Novato, and Walter's hopefully traveling lighter in Amsterdam or wherever he is in the Netherlands, and Kathy in Cleveland, and Tom in Denver or wherever Tom's going to be, and Mickey, our matriarch, everyone. I just had a pleasure to see Gary and his lovely wife in Placerville and Auburn. I hope Gary's traveling lighter. Terry, yes. And really, what more do you want? Yeah. So, hallelujah. All right, I'm going to say goodbye. We have a meeting today at 4:30 Pacific time. If you like, join us. And we'll be back on Thursday for the recovery meeting. And we're going to be back east in June, June 17th, June 18th in Doylestown, and then Dover 21, 22, and 23rd of June. We'll put up the information. The Dover will be mostly non-duality. The rest will be a lot of recovery, but it's always recovery has an essential quality of non-duality in it. That's why there's a possibility of recovery, because yeah. All right. So, all right. Let me see. Terry Everett, keep on sending those strange checks. They're very good. Karen Rowe or Ray, nice to see you, Karen. Wow. Danny M. Miak, she's in her lovely place, not far from here. Terry in Maine, I think still. Yep. John K. Maine must be thawing out now, eh? Ah, beautiful. It's beautiful up there. Yeah. John K. Gail J. in Canada. Thank you. Joseph C. Ben, Dennis, Amy, John. John, nice to see you, John, there. Roman Mueller, Axel, Darren, Darren's soaking it in. Good. Phone number, Tom M. Anand Sindhu. Mike M. Fletch, as always. Paula, Chris Blake, Robert in Kentucky. Hey, thank you, everyone. I really love this platform. I really appreciate that you show up, and it really, oh, there's Lynn. Nice to see Lynn. Thank you for your donation, Lynn, and Amy. I miss these people. Yeah, it really, it's such a nice little piece of this life for me. It opens up a huge space, and I really dig it. So thank you for having me, and we'll see each other soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Paul,
Thank you.
thanks, Michael.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.